My name is Susan. I've lived here for 6 months and it's a 2,600 square foot shop house. I normally sit here in this studio space and draw, paint. I've been drawing people. I teach drawing people and illustration on figures and stuff. But eventually I started if it's just people is not enough, they're floating in space. So I ended up drawing, slowly the chair comes in and slowly everything else behind them, and eventually it became everything else. We were traveling for an extended period. We did 15 countries in about 15 months. So the first sketch was in the Tube in London. And then, a year and a half later, I have 4 books, loads and loads of random things. Was one of the highlights, I think, was Colombia. And we stayed in this coffee plantation, and it was the family that owned it lived there with us. So I have their whole family. So I have 2 pages of all their heads, like a telenovela, like a Spanish kind of drama. There's a whole chapter of this in the book, of all the people, and I sketched them one by one. So because we're all locked down, I started drawing in the house. So I started looking out the window, I started looking at corners of the house. So if I sit there near the window, you could see this opening up the top. So I just moved from corner to corner to look for interesting angles. The living room downstairs from one corner, and then did that living room from the other corner and then the other corner. So I just moved around downstairs, and just the bookshelf kept getting the attention. Because I have the time, so this was hours and hours of just quiet, contemplation of the space. Whereas if I was drawing on outside somewhere in another city, I'm in a rush. I'm always trying to just get it in, and then maybe later when you take a photo, you put in the details later. But here I don't have that kind of constraint, so it's a very different way of looking at space and drawing too. Then teaching on Zoom versus teaching in person, it uses twice as much energy. I think they get a lot of benefit from it, because if you're in a classroom and I do a demo, you may see it from where you're sitting, right? But then if they see it in their face with the camera up here, they see everything I'm doing very clearly. I think there's less distraction. The one thing that's amazing with teaching is that I get to teach friends or people who are not visible. It's just, and I also get to draw a lot of these live models. They're all over the world, But I would love to retain some of the practice that I have, the quiet, deep working kind of way. I would like to retain that even beyond when we're already free. I can actually interact with the world from a very small space.